There's this moment, and maybe you've had it, where you're sitting at your kitchen table, or maybe you're in your car in a parking lot because that's the only quiet place you can find, and you're looking at your bank account on your phone. And the number isn't catastrophic. It's not zero. You're not in crisis. But it's just not growing. You're making decent money. You're paying your bills. You're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, and yet somehow the balance looks almost identical to what it looked like 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. And you get this quiet, creeping feeling, like you're running on a treadmill, moving but not going anywhere. My name is Josh, and I've spent an embarrassing amount of time thinking about money. Specifically about why the gap between people who build real wealth and people who stay financially stuck is almost never about income. It's rarely about who makes more. It's about something much quieter, much less dramatic, and honestly, much more accessible than most people realize. And that thing, that deceptively simple thing, is what this whole video is about. Because here's what I want to show you today. Investing $500 a month doesn't just slowly grow your account over time. It changes you. It changes how you think, how you make decisions, what you believe is possible, and eventually, how your entire financial life is structured. And that might sound like a lot to put on $500. But stick with me, because by the end of this, I think you're going to see money in a way you haven't quite seen it before. Let's be honest about something. $500 a month doesn't sound impressive. It doesn't have the drama of a viral investment story. Nobody's going to make a documentary about someone who quietly set up a recurring transfer every month and then just waited. It's not sexy. It doesn't make for a great tweet. But here's the thing about unsexy. Unsexy works. Quietly, consistently, over time. It works. Now, I want to be careful here because too many personal finance videos do this thing where they throw a massive compound interest chart at you in the first 2 minutes and go, "See? Amazing." And you nod, and you feel inspired for about 45 minutes, and then real life happens and nothing changes. So rather than leading with the chart, I'll get to the numbers, I promise, I want to start with something more fundamental. I want to talk about what actually happens inside a person when they commit to this. Because the numbers, honestly, are almost secondary to the psychology. And most people get this backwards. When you decide, genuinely decide, not "I should probably do this someday," decide, but actually set up the account and automate the transfer, something shifts. And it happens before a single dollar has compounded, before the market has done anything. Before you've made a single cent in returns, you've made a statement to yourself that your future is worth something right now. I know that sounds a little abstract, so let me give you a more concrete way to think about it. Most people relate to their future self the way they relate to a distant acquaintance. You kind of care. You don't want bad things to happen to them, but you're not losing sleep over their well-being. You'll help them out eventually, when things get easier. When you get a raise, when the kids are done with sports, when the car is paid off. And because of that psychological distance, the future self gets shortchanged over and over again in favor of the present self. The present self wants the vacation. The present self wants the new laptop. The present self is here with feelings and desires and a very compelling case for why now is a tough time to save. But the moment you automate that $500, the moment it leaves before you even see it, something interesting happens. Your present self and your future self enter into a kind of silent contract. The money moves before you have a chance to argue with yourself. And over time, this is the part most people don't expect, you stop missing it. Your lifestyle adjusts. Your brain, which is remarkable at adaptation, recalibrates to the new baseline. What felt like a sacrifice in month 1 feels completely normal by month 4. That recalibration is not a small thing. That is the foundation of wealth building, and it's available to anyone who's willing to make the initial commitment. Okay, the numbers. Let's talk about them properly. $500 a month. You start today. You invest it in a broadly diversified index fund. Nothing fancy, nothing exotic, just the boring, time-tested approach that the vast majority of serious financial researchers and planners point to as the most reliable long-term strategy. And historically, a diversified stock market portfolio has returned somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 to 10% annually when you account for inflation. For our purposes, let's use 8%, conservative enough to be realistic, optimistic enough to reflect a reasonable long-term average. At 8% annual growth, investing $500 a month for 10 years gives you roughly $90,000, which is impressive on its own. You put in $60,000 and it grew to $90,000. But here's where it gets genuinely strange, and I mean strange in the best possible way. You keep going for 20 years, you're looking at somewhere around $300,000. You put in $120,000. The market added nearly $180,000 on top. 30 years, you're approaching $700,000. You contributed $180,000. The returns are over $500,000. Now stop and actually sit with that for a second. In year 30, you didn't do 30 years of work. You did the same thing you did in year 1. You let $500 move automatically into an account. But that money in year 30 is doing something that money in year 1 simply cannot do. It's been compounding for decades. It's carrying the weight of 3 decades of growth on top of growth on top of growth. There's a concept called the doubling rule, often called the rule of 72, where you divide 72 by your expected rate of return to find out roughly how many years it takes your money to double. At 8%, your money doubles approximately every 9 years. So money you invest today at 30 years old doubles once by 39, again by 48, again by 57, again by 66. That same dollar, if you'd spent it instead, does nothing. If you'd saved it in a checking account, it barely moves. But invested, it doubles 4 times before you retire. This is why financial people won't stop talking about starting early. It's not nagging, it's math, genuinely stunning math. Here's something that doesn't show up in any compound interest calculator, and I think it might be the most important part of this whole conversation. After a few months of consistent investing, we're talking 3, 4, 6 months, most people experience a quiet shift in how they identify themselves financially. They stop thinking of themselves as someone who wants to build wealth someday and start thinking of themselves as someone who is building wealth. Present tense. Right now. That might sound like a minor semantic difference. It is not a minor semantic difference. Identity shapes behavior in ways that conscious goal setting simply cannot match. James Clear, in Atomic Habits, talks about this at length. The idea that the most durable changes in behavior come not from setting goals, but from shifting who you believe you are. Goals are fragile. Identity is sticky. When you see yourself as an investor, when that's just part of your self-concept, as natural as being a parent or a cook or a runner, your decisions start to quietly align with that identity without you having to white-knuckle every choice. You start to naturally think twice before a large impulse purchase, not because you're torturing yourself with discipline, but because it doesn't quite fit who you are now. You start paying more attention to fees and tax efficiency and account types, not because someone told you to, but because investors think about those things. And over time, this identity reinforces itself. Every month the automated transfer happens, you get a small, quiet confirmation. I'm someone who does this. That confirmation compounds too, not financially, psychologically. And the psychological compounding might actually matter more in the long run because it's what keeps you invested through the scary months, the crash months, the months where everything in the news is telling you to panic. Investors stay invested. And staying invested is honestly most of the game. I want to be real with you here because I think there's sometimes a gap between the theory of investing and the actual lived experience of trying to figure out where $500 comes from. For some people, that's genuinely easy. They look at their budget, they find the room, they automate it, done. But for a lot of people, especially if they're carrying any debt, or if they're in a high cost of living area, or if income is irregular, $500 a month is not a trivial number. And I think it's worth acknowledging that without pretending there's some magical trick to finding money that isn't there. What I will say is this: the number itself is flexible. What matters is the behavior. If right now the honest number for you is $150 a month, then 150 is the right number. If it's 250, start there. The point isn't the specific dollar amount, it's the habit, the automation, the identity, the compounding. All of that scales. What I'd also say is that $500 a month is often more achievable than people initially believe, because most of us have a few spending patterns that we're dimly aware of but haven't actually examined. Not in a judgmental way, just in an honest, clear-eyed way. The streaming services that have quietly multiplied. The food delivery convenience that crept from occasional to routine. The gym membership that's more of an aspiration than a reality at this point. None of those things are wrong on their own. But together, unexamined, they can quietly absorb the money that your future self really needs. And look, I'm not suggesting a life of misery and deprivation. That's not sustainable, and it's not the goal. The goal is intentionality. Knowing where your money goes and making a conscious choice about whether it reflects what actually matters to you. For most people, when they genuinely sit down and do that exercise, they find more room than they expected. One thing that I find genuinely underrated in conversations about long-term investing is what happens psychologically when you hit your first real milestone. When your portfolio, after maybe a year and a half, 2 years of consistent investing, crosses $10,000 for the first time, something clicks. It's hard to explain if you haven't felt it, but I'll try. It stops feeling theoretical. It stops being a line on a spreadsheet and starts being a real, tangible thing that exists in the world. You made it. You grew it. It's yours. And at $10,000, a few interesting things happen. First, you start to feel the returns in a way that's actually visible. 8% of $10,000 is $800. That's meaningful. That's a month and a half of your contributions just appearing without any effort from you. Second, you start to intuitively understand compounding in your bones, not just in your head. You've watched numbers grow. You've lived it. And that experience, that felt understanding of how this actually works, changes how you respond to setbacks. Because setbacks will come. Markets correct, sometimes dramatically. And the people who panic and sell during those corrections are disproportionately people who never really got to feel the growth. They were still in the abstract phase. But once you've watched 10,000 become 12, and 12 become 15, and then seen it dip back to 13, and then climb to 16, you develop a kind of earned confidence. You've seen the pattern. You trust the process in a way that isn't blind faith, it's experience. That earned confidence is one of the most valuable things $500 a month buys you. It just doesn't show up on a balance sheet. Here's something a little harder to put into words, but I think it's real and I think it matters. A lot of people walk around with a quiet, mostly unconscious belief about what they're capable of financially. Not a belief they've examined, not one they'd defend out loud, just a kind of ambient assumption about what people like them do and don't do with money. And for many people, particularly people who didn't grow up around investing, who didn't see parents managing portfolios, who weren't taught this stuff, the ambient assumption is that serious wealth building is for other people, richer people, people who understand things they don't understand. Investing $500 a month, consistently for long enough to see it work, breaks that assumption. Quietly, but completely. Because you didn't need to be rich to start. You didn't need a financial advisor or a special account or insider knowledge. You needed a brokerage account, an index fund, and a recurring transfer. And it worked, the same way it works for everyone else who does it, regardless of their background, regardless of who their parents were, regardless of whether anyone ever taught them this stuff. That realization, this works for me because it just works, is the invisible ceiling dissolving. And once it's gone, it tends to stay gone. People who've built their first $50,000 in an investment account rarely think of wealth building as something that happens to other people. They know it's a process, a boring, automated, patient process that compounds quietly while you live your life. So let's come back to the original question. Why does everything change after investing $500 a month? It changes because of the math, the absurd, counterintuitive, almost hard-to-believe reality of long-term compounding. Money that doubles every 9 years, that turns $180,000 in contributions into something approaching $1 million over 3 decades. But it also changes because of the psychology, the identity shift, the earned confidence, the invisible ceiling that quietly disappears once you've proven to yourself that this is something you actually do. And it changes because of optionality. That word, optionality, might be the most underappreciated concept in all of personal finance. What a growing investment account really gives you over time is choices. Choices about whether to stay in a job you've outgrown. Choices about whether to take a risk on something you believe in. Choices about how to respond to an emergency without it derailing your entire life. Choices about when to retire and on what terms. Money is not the goal. Freedom is the goal. Security is the goal. The ability to live a life that feels chosen rather than merely endured, that's the goal. And $500 a month, invested consistently over time, is one of the most reliable paths to that kind of life that exists. I want to end this the way I try to end most conversations about money. Not with a fire-under-your-seat sense of urgency, not with fear, and not with some oversimplified promise that everything is going to be perfect if you just follow these steps. Because that's not how any of this works. What I want to leave you with is something quieter than that. A recognition that the gap between where you are and where you want to be is probably smaller than it feels right now. That the tools you need are accessible and simple. That the process, once you start it, tends to carry you further than you expected. You don't have to figure out everything today. You don't have to optimize your portfolio perfectly from the beginning. You don't have to know every acronym and account type and tax strategy. The single most important move you can make, right now, today, is to start. Even small, especially small if that's where you are. Because here's the thing about month 1. It will feel like nothing. The returns will be invisible. The balance will be small. And that is completely fine, because month 1 is not doing the heavy lifting. Month 1 is just telling the future version of you that you're serious, that you've made the decision, that you've entered the contract, and the future version of you, the one sitting on a balance that took decades to build but feels like it happened quietly, steadily, almost without drama, that person is going to be really glad you did. If you found this valuable, like this video, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.